Tonight on the MTN News.
Denied.
So I think this was really a brave step on the part of the commissioners to stand up for the people.
A decision by Montana's Public Service Commission will keep your gas bill from going up, at least for now.
Also,
it is so disturbing that somebody would do this.
A thief preying on people during a funeral service.
And the message behind one Billings woman's unusual campaign.
And you see a smile, and I think that's what it's about.
The MTN News starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger.
And I'm Andrea Lutz. Montana's Public Service Commission has denied an interim request from Montana Dakota Utilities to raise your rates.
Yeah, it would have hiked your gas bill by 10% starting next month. Charlie Kleps takes a look at why the commission ruled against the utility, at least for now.
With winter quickly approaching, gas meters like these will continue to have higher and higher readings. That means higher gas bills, but not higher rates, at least not for now, for Montana Dakota customers. At a time when the cost of living in Montana continues to skyrocket,
Wages have not kept up with inflation.
many Montanans are struggling just to make ends meet.
Everything from the price of housing to healthcare to food to fuel.
It's something on the radar of many, and just this week, another bill was nearly increased.
They asked that we give them an interim rate increase while we are considering the overall rate case.
In July, Montana Dakota Utilities, which handles much of eastern Montana's natural gas usage, asked the Montana Public Service Commission to approve a $9.4 million rate increase, which amounts to about $9 a month for residential customers. While waiting on that decision, which can take up to about 9 months, MDU asked for an interim $8 million increase that would take effect November 1st. Their request, per MDU spokesman Mark Hansen, was an attempt to cover past investments. Hansen said, quote, Montana Dakota has invested about $43 million in infrastructure since its last rate review. Our current prices are not enough to cover the investments made since 2020 and provide a reasonable rate of return.
Montanans are tired of costs going up and picking up the bills.
That increase was not appreciated by many in eastern Montana, like Mary Catherine Dunphy, who rallied to push back.
We got hundreds, if not thousands, of people in eastern Montana involved.
That public outcry caught the attention of the PSC. They rejected the increase in an attempt, they say, to find a balance between consumer cost and utility returns.
Just the price shocks that Montanans have had to endure these last 4 years.
I'm really happy that the PSC stuck up for the people of eastern Montana instead of the corporation. Northwest Energy and MDU tend to get everything they ask for.
Both MDU and Northwestern Energy are still waiting on permanent rate decisions that will be made by some new faces. 3 of the 5 seats are on November's ballot. Dunphy and many others say they're ready to battle it again.
They're going to try again, and we'll be ready for them.
In Billings, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
Tonight, a Roundup family searching for answers after the death of a loved one and then a theft that happened during the funeral.
That's right. The Snortland family says hundreds of dollars was stolen from them at the St. Benedict Catholic Church as they laid to rest a loved one. Our Matt Carmack has their story.
Funerals can be a stressful and emotional time for anybody who attends. But for Diane Bragg, the emotion and sadness she felt at her brother's funeral quickly turned into anger when hundreds of dollars were stolen from her and her family right here in Roundup at the St. Benedict Church.
We're mad. We're disturbed by it.
Anybody go so low
Yes.
to steal from a person that's gone?
It's something you would never think about.
However they did this, somehow they opened it, maybe steamed it, whatever, and then they glued it shut.
Monetary donations for a funeral stolen without a batted eye.
Whoever did this, they possibly have done this before because of how it was done.
Diane Bragg and her mom Irene were already going through the unimaginable. The tragic loss of her younger brother Eric, who was a U.S. Army veteran, unfortunately struggling with PTSD.
It is so disturbing that somebody would do this and dishonor him this way.
Diane said it happened during Eric's funeral service. Mourners left cards and money in a collection bin at St. Benedict's Catholic Church. then proceeded to the cemetery. When it was time to collect those cards, they were all gone, only to return 24 hours later without the money inside.
We'd like to let people know that this has happened, that if someone else has a funeral, that they make sure the family gets that cards and money immediately.
The Snortland family has decided not to file a police report. They say they just want this to be behind them. An emotional time already hard enough by the loss of a loved one.
So it was very hard. And then to put this on top of it, it's...
In Roundup, Matt Carmack, MTN News.
We continue to enjoy a beautiful streak of warm fall weather.
But that is about to change in a big way as we take a look out at Billings on this picture-perfect day. Could look a lot different tomorrow with rain and snow moving into the higher elevations.
Our Ed McIntosh joining us now with a look at that first forecast.
The Stockman Bank weather cam showing us some pretty colors from the smoky haze, but it's still a smoky haze. That held the temperatures back a few degrees. 83 for the warmest reading at the airport today, just 3 degrees shy of the record for the day. The winds up to 31 miles an hour. We could see some stronger gusts this evening. Already seeing cooler air into western Montana. Missoula, Kalispell topped off in the 50s today. How about 86 in Jordan, 81 in Miles City, 87 for you in Sheridan today. Tied the record for October 16th. You can see Livingston, Baker also up there in record territory, but this is all going to be a memory. We're going to shift gears into the wetter and cooler weather. We're going to show you exactly where it'll hit with the forecast.
With less than 3 weeks to Election Day, the political climate is undeniably hot. But as our Haley Monaco explains, one Billings woman is sick of the trend and is making light of the situation with a powerful message with the help of her cats.
Political signs like these have been in people's yards for months. They're an easy way to show your support. There are a few new candidates' faces that have been popping up in some people's yards, and while they may not receive many votes, they serve as an important reminder.
The political climate is rising.
It's a common feeling among many Americans this election cycle.
Anxious for the results and very anxious to get it over with.
Jumping into the political scene, some new candidates have taken over a Billings neighborhood.
I'm voting for Jade. Jade 2024 Diesel for governor.
Okay.
Now that's going to conflict with my neighbor over there who's got Nell for governor.
MTN News was able to track down Diesel and Jade with a little help from their campaign manager.
Jade!
But both declined an interview.
Uninterested. No comment. No comment.
All jokes aside, Sue Fashini hopes the cat campaign signs she's created bring joy to those who see them, but also carry deeper meaning.
I think we've reached a boiling point, and based on history, you don't want to see that pot boil over.
Growing up as a first-generation American with her parents coming from Italy after World War II, she's heard the horror stories from her family and fears for the future.
About what it means to be a fascist and live under a fascist government. I don't want to see certain things that they talked about occurring here.
So she's put a few signs here and there, bringing humor to an intense time.
So it's fun that somebody's having a little fun with the political season because there isn't much else of it this year.
Please keep it civil, because when it's all over with, the day after the election, we still have to be neighbors, we still have to be coworkers, and we still have to be friends.
A positively perfect reminder. In Billings, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
Well, if you're feeling a little stressed with the election and other worries of the world, One Billings Counseling Practice is offering a way that could help with free counseling sessions. As Arlena Howder reports, it's one therapist's way of giving back.
It's no secret that therapy isn't cheap, but One Billings counselor is offering a solution through her practice by offering free therapy.
As a mother, artist, and teacher.
It's just a new thing every 5 days.
Angel Shandy has a lot to juggle.
Different situations arise out of being an adult and being a parent and having a full-time job.
Add in the stressors from society.
In politics, in the wars, in LGBTQ rights.
And a diagnosis of depression and anxiety, and it can be overwhelming.
There's a lot of practice of these are things that I can control, and these are things that I can't control.
It's a technique she learned 5 months ago when she started seeing licensed medical counselor Allison James.
It's been definitely helped so much to be able to navigate everything.
A service Beautiful Directions Counseling is providing Angel for free.
I have a responsibility to give back what was given to me. I am very grateful. I'm grateful for the therapists that I've had.
With 8 therapists and 3 graduate interns, Allison is armed and ready to give back to the community.
The interns only see people for free. They're supervised by the clinician that has over 40 years of experience. So he is part of that process.
One of those interns is David Eichler.
I'm studying clinical social work and counseling.
It's a new career for someone who has firsthand experience in the field of mental health after he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder 2 decades ago.
I spent a long time in my life facilitating other people's dreams, other people's balance sheets, and this is sitting in a room with a human being, and none of the rest doesn't matter.
A practice that's ready to wrap its arms around the community.
We will see people for free because we care more about people being okay than we care about the money.
There's people that are willing to help our community in that way.
In Billings, Alina Howder, MTN News.
Ahead on the MTN News on Q2, we take a look at why Montana's races for Supreme Court are getting more attention this election season.
And later, Scott will introduce our Athlete of the Week, who comes from a famous Montana rodeo family.
The MTN 530 News continues right after this.